Hi guys, I'm back today just to talk a little bit about what I've been working on my new machine and just to basically fill you in and give you a more detailed review than the walkthrough I gave you last time. So the first thing I did with the machine was make a stitch Bible. There are like 100 stitches on this machine, and then you've got to factor in all the twin needle stitches as well, which I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think about those when I started the Stitch Bible. So when I got to the end, I thought, oh dear, I forgot about them. So I basically went and bought a metre of calico from my local fabric shop and cut it into pages that are 7.5 by 10 inches. I doubled them up so that each page has 2 bits of calico essentially. So I cut 20 pages. It's 9 pages long with a cover, and this is what it looks like. So as you can see, I've used some eyelets in the top. They are just prim 5mm silver ones. These are wire locking key rings that I found on eBay. It's taken me really long to work out how to keep all this together because I just did not want to lose a page for obvious reasons. But this is page 1. Each line is 1/2 inch, so there's 1/2 inch in between each line. I did this because my machine stitch width is 7mm, and it worked out that even the widest stitch fit perfectly in that box. So here's the widest zigzag it can do, and it fits perfectly in between that box. So if you were thinking about doing one for your machine, I would definitely recommend working out what your widest stitch length is, because there'd be nothing worse than literally going over that line. So as you can see, I wanted to keep track of the density and like the length of the stitches when it came to the zigzag. You may also notice I skipped 1 and went straight to 7. That's because 2 is either a straight stitch with a locking stitch on either end, or it's with a back stitch on either end. 3 is the other one, so you've got 3 straight stitches in a row. They've just got automatic locking on them, and then 4, 5 and 6 are the stretch stitch straight stitches, so the lightning bolt, the triple stitch, and all those ones. So I didn't think it necessary to document all the straight stitches it can do. As you can see, I've got all the buttonholes and everything. I decided to use a bright fun colour because it would just show up better. And we've got the next page. Some of these stitches really did surprise me of how they were formed. I wasn't expecting, especially the picture-like ones that we'll get to nearer the end. They really surprised me, and some of these they're so intricate, and it was just so amazing just watching the machine just go. I haven't actually used the foot pedal with my machine since I got it, so I literally just press the start stop button and then just let it go, and it feeds so evenly because it's got so many feed dogs. I barely had to touch it. I just like obviously kept an eye on it, but this was so effortless doing this. As you can see, you've got, now here is where we get to the satin stitches. You can elongate the satin stitches up to 5 times. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that is down here has been elongated 5 times. That is the same as that. I've just elongated it. It was honestly so much fun watching this, because some of these ones, there's quite a few satin stitches, and as you can see, some of the ones like this, they don't look the same once you've elongated them. They look like a completely different stitch. And up here as well, they look like a completely different stitch. So you've almost got more stitches than you could possibly comprehend. And then here you get to the more fun, like picture-y ones. And like that Aztec one there, that really was fun to watch. And this one, I love this one. But how cute is that little car? I've literally come up with so many ideas for these stitches. It's unreal. So we've got some love and sweet and some anchors and cats. And now we've got the twin needle section. So I used a different colour thread in each needle because I wanted to see exactly where in case it overlapped in places, I wanted to see where it was. And there's a setting on the machine where if you press the twin needle button, you will only be able to select twin needle stitches. If you don't do that, you run the risk of the twin needle swinging out too far while you're stitching. Like even even having it up too high on stitch width could mean that the twin needles swing out too far, hit the throat plate, like the actual needle plate on the machine, and break. And so yeah, that was a great little function, having that little button, because it meant that no matter what I selected, it wasn't, all the settings were already there for me. I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff happening. But some of these stitches, these are all the same stitches I just showed you, but don't they look so different when you've got the twin needle in? Obviously they're on a smaller scale, because obviously you've got to fit it in that space twice. But look, these are the satin stitches again, but this time twin needle, and look how different they look. That one was really interesting to watch. I think that looks so clever, that one. So yeah, there's quite a lot there. I haven't counted them. I know there's around nearly 150 when you add in the twin needle stitches. I obviously left out like any of the straight stitches in the twin needle as well, so they're not all in there. But this cover and the lines and the numbers in the actual thing, I used Deco Art Crafters acrylic paint to do that, using their Crafters acrylic fabric medium to turn it into fabric paint. And I don't know if I can pick it up, but all this is glittery. I basically wanted to just paint my machine on the front of it, so I did. To keep the edges neat, I actually used the Overcast Stitch and the Overcast Foot on my machine. I don't know if you can see that because it's white, but I didn't want it to fray, and I wanted to use the whole of the machine to make sure I could have done it on my overlocker, but I wanted to utilise everything the machine could do, and I couldn't be more pleased with that at all. It's just perfect and exactly what I wanted. So I was getting to know the machine, and it took me a few days to do that. It's quite labour intensive, and just because you've got to keep changing the stitch, and if you do what I did and want to have all the stitch zigzag widths and everything catalogued, then you have to, keep working out a stop. Basically, I drew the line, I drew lines across it to make it into the grid, and then when the needle got to that line, I just basically put it up, and just put it up every time I hit the line. I didn't stop it and take it off, I just did it like that. But I also wanted to have a proper go with the machine before I came back and commented on it. I didn't want to, just literally do a Stitch Bible, come back and say, oh, the machine's amazing and everything, if when push came to shove and I was doing an actual project, that it wasn't. So I tried a bit of foundation paper piecing. Now, for those of you who haven't done or seen foundation paper piecing, basically what it is it's an image that's on paper, it's split down into sections, and then you basically use the printed image on the paper as like the wrong side of your fabric. So you work on the back of the paper so that your image builds up on the back of the paper, and you sew through it. So you sew on the line through it. So it's a precision way of making quilt blocks. So I had seen it on the Sewing Quarter. Jenni Smith has two really amazing patterns that she made in conjunction with Liberty Fabrics, and I absolutely fell in love with them straight away, but I'd never done it before. So I was like, okay, maybe that's a bit ambitious. And so I was talking to Jenni, and she said, you'll be fine. You've just got to be, if you're confident, you'll be fine. And she's also amazing. She has her own YouTube video, like her own YouTube account, and she uploads complete tutorials. So if have never tried it before, you can just hop onto her tutorials, watch them, and follow them. And that's exactly what I did. And so this little guy is Morris Mouse. Now, this is my first attempt at foundation paper piecing. As you can see, lots of seams, and sometimes there's a lot of bulk. The machine did not struggle with this at all. It didn't hesitate, and what you have to imagine is there's paper in the back of that too. Because the needle's going through the paper, it perforates it, so when you've finished your stitching, you just rip the paper out, which is fantastic. I honestly thought the machine would be a bit, because it is quite seam heavy in places because it's points and, but it didn't struggle at all. And there was also the thing of starting on the corner or something where there is a lot of bulk and, the foot's got to get over it. I found this nifty little button on the back of my presser foot. It's not on the presser foot, it's on the actual foot. So it's the straight stitch foot. It's foot A for my Janome. And oh my god, it is a game changer. My first machine didn't have it. So when I was making these, my denim Kingston jacket and my Jenni Smith Hepworth apron, denim can be quite bulky to sew. So I actually got a scrap of denim and made like a wedge basically that I could fold over to do so many layers that I could stick under the back of the under the back of the presser foot so that it could start and not be on a slant, so it would be on an even keel. This new button that I've got on my new machine just does that. It's basically a little black button, and I know not every machine has it, but if you have it and you struggle with that part, like starting and getting over the bumps and seams, definitely give this a go. I didn't even know it was a thing. So basically it's a little black button on a spring on the very back of the foot, and hang on a minute, I'll show you. Right, I'm back. So basically it's this little button here, and as you can see, it kicks out there. What you do is while lowering your presser foot, you press that button in and it holds, and that keeps it flat, so it will keep it at that angle. So instead of it being like that, trying to go over a seam, it will literally stay like that, and it can start, and then it will literally just pop off and unclip as soon as it's on an even keel. And a few of those points, it was quite thick to start with, so I used this to do all of the sewing together. So basically you make the sections and then you sew the sections together to make the block up. This one had I want to say about 23 sections. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but it was quite intense. There was a lot to it. But I couldn't stop with one, so I had loads of fabric left over. Like, I was amazed at just how much I had left over. So I made another one. Now this time, you may have noticed on the first Morris, it looks like he has an eyeball, like a proper eye. That was purely coincidental. I wasn't fussy cutting or anything. That was just me laying the fabric down and going for it. This time I decided Morris needed these eyes. So this fabric is navy with big chunky gold polka dots. So what I did was I drew on the paper, I drew where I wanted the eye to be placed. And it's the first fabric you put down in that section, so it's quite easy to kind of work that bit out. So I just drew with a pencil on the paper so that I could see it, and then you could use a light box, that would be great. Don't have a light box, really need to get one, to be fair. I just used my phone. I just used my phone camera and just shine the light up through the fabric into the paper and then use that to position it. I used the Sewline glue pen for all of this. And basically you can use pins to keeping the first part of the fabric in place requires pins or something. I used this nifty little thing. So it's blue in the tube, but it dries clear, it washes out, it's not a big deal. You can even reposition it, just pull the fabric off, start again. So I just basically glued the fabric where I needed it to, using the light on my phone to line up the polka dot on the fabric with what I'd drawn. So I don't know if you can see this, but this grey is actually got glitter in it. I saw it and I couldn't resist. I was like, oh, wouldn't he look so sweet? So this is Morris number 2. He's done in a range of, this is Sevenberry Marble, this is Dashwood Flurries, you've got a Macao Floral. His little bow tie is in Liberty. I'm awful with Liberty fabrics, I can't remember the names. But basically I'd used that fabric as the background for this one, and I had some left over, and I've still got some left over. I just wanted to, change it up. So he was done using exactly the same fabrics. He just looks so different because he's a more darker colour palette. Jenni Smith has released a new pattern since Morris called Alice Rabbit. Liberty brought out the Tea for Two range, and Alice was released in conjunction with the quilting cottons for that. Morris was with the, I want to say, Cottage Gardens. I'm, like I said, really bad with names. I only remember this one because it's like Alice in Wonderland. So this is the Liberty print I chose for this. I didn't want to use all Liberty. I'm not going to lie, I can't afford to use all Liberty, so I thought I'd break it up with some other ones. This has little stars on it, which is really cute. But how amazing are those eyelashes? Like, the detail that goes into these patterns is unreal. So this was my 3rd attempt at foundation paper piecing, and I honestly couldn't be more pleased with the way it has all gone. I definitely do think it's down to having a fantastic machine that makes sewing not only a pleasure, but it makes it just effortless. I also believe in having the right tools for the job. So I have my Sewline glue pen. I've been using this seam roller that came in an issue of Love Patchwork and Quilting. I do want to get a wooden one, I'm not going to lie. Now this tool is invaluable. It's an Add a Quarter Plus ruler from CM Designs. Basically, foundation paper piecing, you have to, there's a rhythm to it. And in order to get the seams and so don't fray back and fall apart, you have to have a 1/4 inch. You have to cut back a 1/4 inch. So you can do it with a normal ruler. I'm not going to lie, you don't need this ruler, but this ruler literally makes it so easy. So when you're trimming back that 1/4 inch seam, you fold the paper back on the line, and you probably, can you see how thin that is? You use this, you can use a bit of card, you can use a postcard or something, but you place that on that line and then fold the paper back, and then you get a nice crisp fold. And on that fold, you see this bit here? You butt that up against that paper fold, and that section is a perfect 1/4 inch, and then you can cut along this edge and it will have cut the perfect 1/4 inch seam. So this tool, best thing ever. This was a birthday present, and I'm just, honestly, I was so ecstatic to get this. So also, like I said, there's a lot of parts to foundation paper piecing, and honestly, if it weren't for this sewing pouch from Sarah Ashford Designs, I would have lost it all. So basically, Sarah will put any slogan you want onto a water resistant project pouch. It's slightly bigger than A4. I've got an A4 cutting mat in mine as well. And basically I kept everything in here the whole time I was doing it. This is actually glittery. So you can kind of see it, but it's hard. So yeah, she's got a range of colours available. You can find her on Etsy or go and find her on Instagram. She's got loads of like preloaded ideas. So if you like one that's already got, or you don't quite know what you want written on it, she'll do it. You just have to get in contact with her and she'll completely sort you out. That was honestly one of the best purchases I've made. I'm one of those people that is very OCD. I like everything to have its place. So being able to put all of my foundation paper piecing stuff in there while I was doing it meant I didn't lose pieces, because some of the pieces are like tiny. You were talking like two bits of fabric. Like one of the pieces for Alice, for instance, was this bit and this bit, literally just this grey bit and this little pink bit. And if it weren't for my project pouch, I would have so easily lost that. It's just, it's carnage. You've got fabric everywhere. You're swapping between cutting and sewing, and it's just bound to happen. So once I finished it, I tucked it away in my project pouch, and I didn't lose a thing. Touch wood. I haven't lost a thing yet. So the other thing that I've tried new is, so the Stitch Bible was done with Gutermann threads, and my foundation paper piecing was done with Aurifil 50 weight thread. I love Aurifil. I've never used it before, and I was on a mission. Everyone says it's so good for paper piecing, so I was just like, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give it a go. I think it's like £9 for like a ridiculously large spool. So when I worked it out, it sounds expensive to start with. £9 for thread, are you mad? But when you actually look at it like for like, metre for metre, so a spool of Gutermann thread is like, 100 metres, it's nearly £2. I think the spool I got was over 1,000 metres. And honestly, it was amazing. I filled up a bobbin with it, and I done the 3 foundation paper piecing. I've done the 2 Morris and Alice with that 1 bobbin, and there is some left over. I also had to unpick some bits with my first Morris where I hadn't correctly worked out the angles, which it happens. So yeah, I had to unpick it. So yeah, thread waste. If I hadn't have had to unpick it, I reckon I could have probably got 4 out of it. I could have probably gotten 2 Morris and 2 Alice. It honestly feels amazing. And when I was pressing it with my seam roller, I physically saw the stitches sink into the fabric. It was like they weren't there. When I ran my fingers along it, it was just like it wasn't there. It was just amazing, and it feels so luxurious. I will not hesitate to use Aurifil again. I really won't. It is one of those things where it works beautifully with the machine. Like, there wasn't one single jam. I didn't have to re-thread once. It was just so effortless. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. So I've given the machine a proper test now, and I've literally tried all the different functions with my Stitch Bible, and I tried a bit of free motion with it, and I've tried all sorts, and I can 110% say that I would definitely recommend this machine for anyone looking for an upgrade. It is amazing. Now, this machine, I bought it. All these opinions are my own. This isn't an ad. It's not sponsored. I genuinely love this machine, and the Janome customer services go above and beyond to help. Like, I had a query with my old machine, and the woman on the other end of the phone was just so lovely, and I emailed her pictures of the problems, and she went and spoke to the engineers, and I was kind of like, I didn't know if it was an issue or not, or if there was something wrong with my machine, and I kind of felt a bit silly for not knowing. but it was a very odd thing, and basically she put all my like fears to rest. I wouldn't hesitate to buy another Janome machine. Obviously I haven't because I bought one, but I really rate Janome as a company. I think they're amazing. Also Elna, because Janome and Elna are sister companies, so their customer service is really incredible. And honestly, I can't fault the machine. I haven't had a single thing where it stops me making mistakes. It beeps at me if the presser foot isn't down, like if I've got a bulk under there with wadding and it looks like it's down but it's not, it'll beep at me and tell me your presser foot's not down, I'm not going. And it, honestly, when I was making my Kingston jacket, this one, because of the amount of layers, it was kind of like quilting. It was like there was a lot of layers and it literally just went under the foot. So a few times I did make the mistake of not putting the presser foot down. But with this machine, I'm never going to do that again. It is honestly such a game changer and I absolutely love it. I'm not going to lie. I get the biggest grin on my face every time I sit down to sew. It's a beautiful colour. It's literally, I can't express how much I love this machine. It has made everything so much easier, and yeah, basically I am a complete fan of this machine, and I think I've made some pretty amazing things with it so far, and yeah, I'm looking forward to making a lot more. So yeah, I just wanted to drop in, show you what I've been doing, and basically update you on the machine. I know a few of you have been messaging me and like commenting on my last video and asking how I've been getting on with it and stuff. And so yeah, I just thought I'd drop in. I literally only finished putting the finishing touches on my Stitch Bible this week, so that's why it's taken me so long to get this up. I could not work out how to get it all to stay together. I knew it had to have eyelets, but I couldn't work out the next bit, like the ring. I was sitting there thinking, well, I could use cable ties, but if I'm putting metal eyelets in, why would I put plastic cable ties? So I literally spent a whole evening just doing loads of research, looking at all different options, and then that's when I found these locking ring things. And they're brilliant. I can just literally flick through like a flip book. I'm going to do a blog post about it too, and I will actually take the Stitch Bible apart, or maybe I'll put two pictures side by side, I don't know. But basically I'm going to compare what the normal stitch looks like compared to what its twin needle counterpart looks like, so that everybody can see, you know, the differences, because some of them are very vast and some of them don't look like the same stitch at all. So I will be doing that this week sometime. I've also got a review of my dressmaking project Bible coming up. I've just posted a write-up for my Kingston jacket. The pattern is by Rebecca Page for anybody who wants to know. And yep, so I'm going to be posting a few things in the next week. If you want to see more of this, subscribe. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Thanks guys for watching.